Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Power Wash Simulator 2. In this episode, there's been a major update. Jumped to version 1.2. Basically, a bunch of bug fixes, a new feature, as in. I can stack these now, I do believe. How do I... Oh, there's a bunch of new furniture to go down or what have you. Or I've just not bothered to put them down. Oh, I'll look into that later. Yeah, let's get up here. Compare. Got the pet there, pet there, pet there. There we are. Still got a Kit Kat Squishmallow there. But yeah, there is apparently another job that was added as well. Another job to clean. All these are still there that I've done. Those are filled. Right. It's a cleaning job for a not that one. Is it here? What's in here? Here we go. Caldera Chronicles, new pack. See, miniature village. Yeah, this is a free pack. Oh, hang on. Hey. Oh. Excuse me. Yeah. New pack, new job to clean. Let's have a look at it, shall we? Right. Miniature village. Hey Sprucey, how's it dripping? Wet, I hope. You know, I'm not one for small talk, so I'll get straight to it. I've kinda been making a model village out here on the fly for the past 35 years. I've been trying to keep it to myself, but it's become encrusted in mud deposits that I strongly suspect to be related to my feud with Bigfoot. For reasons that I'll explain, I believe this feud to be at an end, leaving me free to get this place cleaned up and have it stay that way. Right. Equipment provided. Right, so I'm restricted on the cleaning tools sort of thing. Right. Let's get to it. Right, all the stuff to clean. Thing. No, that's not it. I've forgotten the controls. Yeah, I've forgotten the controls. Right. Nozzle cycle. Interact, rotate, nozzle. Always refill soap. Numbers is the washers and nozzles. Sprint, toggle stance. Free aim, C jump. Right. So, what have I got? Swirl force surface. Right, let's go for this one. It's this one. Let's have a look around. Got a sign here. Well, there's certainly a bigger... Oh! Choo-choo train! Got the choo-choo train going round. No doubt come down here, under here, like out there or something or other. Oh, quite the area to clean. Oh, wrong button. Yeah, this mountain doesn't need cleaning, but here we are. Oh boy, there's quite a lot to do here. Got a gnome there. Oh, the train goes back and forth, not into there. Right. Out here. There's a place up there. Man, there is a lot to do in this one. Oh boy. Right. Right, let's start with this one. And let's get these going. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Oh, message. Welcome to Nutsville, my friend. Tick in, tick in, tick. Believe it or not, the place started out as just a bit of fun. Once I installed a heat pump at my tree house, I didn't have any need for all the matches I'd bulk bought. So I just started coming out here and gluing them all together. Oh, here we go. Yeah, dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. 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 Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Miniature village. There was a TV series, a British TV series, or UK, however you want to say it. It was wasn't very long, like a half dozen episodes, something like that. When I was a kid, it was based on the Borrowers book, whatnot. They basically, the Borrowers lost their home in a house or whatnot. Had to travel through a like a countryside or something corrupt, and in the end they moved into a miniature village somewhere. To them, the houses would have seemed like houses to us. Yeah. Whenever I hear of a miniature village, I always think of that TV show. There's been several renditions of the Borrowers. I think there was like a American version. There was a Japanese Gimli version. So, oh, wrong one. This one. Ooh. I think I even had a book on it or something or other. Oh, yeah. Also, a miniature village with a train set. When I was a kid, me Kit Kats. There's Squeak, Ulysses, and Bubbles. Yeah, I had a relative before they moved house, whatnot. Up in their attic, they had a train set, set up, that sort of thing. Every time we visited, we'd always end up, whilst the adults talked whatnot, us kids went up into the attic to play with it. Didn't ruin it out like that, but kind of role played sort of thing. A bit of role playing. It had a mini turntable and what have you. A mini turntable, different layers, that sort of thing. Yeah, that was pretty fun. Even tried setting up our own train set in our own attic, but too busy to get very far with that. Alright, I'm gonna get back to just singing. The viewing platform's all done. I think. There's a lot here. Viewing platforms, yeah. Right. Oh. A lot to do. Let's just do over here first. Ah, wrong button. Jump up, jump up. Alright, I did not scroll the wheel. Let's bring this back out. To the edge inwards. Oh, even got the sound, the local sound effects. You can hear the like seaside sort of thing. Water bubbling. Oh, message. I also started incorporating things I found on my forest gallivants. You wouldn't believe what half this stuff's made from. For example, those hot air balloons are hornet's nests that I pumped full of helium. Actually, best leave it there. I'll let your imagination do the rest. So he's basically done some extreme kit bashing. Kit bashing being a term where you just grab, recycle odds and ends to make stuff. I once saw there was a British TV competition show where they got a competition for professional or what have you train set enthusiasts sort of thing. They basically like 3 teams made stuff out. They're allowed to bring stuff in, whatnot, a limited amount of pre-built stuff. But then part way through the competition, they were given a challenge. They were given a like a box of objects, random objects, that they are to what's called kit bashing. They use that to incorporate into the model build somewhere. I've seen stuff like kitchen sponges and scrubbing pads, pocket torches and stuff like that getting used. Right, what is the soap? Yeah, the soap. Let's just use soap so that I know where going. This one. Ah. Right, wrist has suddenly hurt a bit. Right. Back to the soap. On second thought, back to the this one. Let's get just the creaking of the windmill there. That creaking. Right, next is this one. Do 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 do. I let it do 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 do. That one gone ding. These like farm fields done. Do 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 do. Do do do. Oh, itchy. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I'll come back to that eventually. Get these done. I'm up to 15%. I'm guessing the next message will be at 20%. Getting a bit fiddly round the edges sort of thing. That one gone ding. Dee 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 dee. I let it dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Dee 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 dee. Rightio. Got an itch. Right, let's get some more more level surfaces around, get the bulk of things done. This is probably going to be like a good, probably take an hour to do all this. Oh, here we go. 20%. It's all inspired by my ma's favourite expression, cool beans. She was always saying that. And I was a real curious child, always taking things apart, but it never fazed Ma. I'd come in and say things like, Ma, I've disassembled the guttering, left it on top of the hill. Then she'd say, cool beans, and go get it, put it right back up. I think it's time to switch back to the... Oh, not that one, it's this one. And... No, wrong button. Back to the soap. Right. Get this covered. Get as much soap covered as I can, and then rinse it off. Right, to back to the green. That's those done. Do 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 do. Hello do 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 do. That's that. Gotta get all those dings. Ding ding ding. Ding 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 a ding a ding 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 a ding 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 a ding 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 ding. Back to the soap and spray away. Do 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 do. And back to the green nozzle. Why it keeps defaulting to the yellow, I do not know. There's those. Any more harbour stuff? Harbour is all done. Right. Now back over here. Bring out the soap. And give everything a blast. Like half an hour into this recording. Ah, two. Back to it keeps going back to the yellow. Do 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 do, la da do 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 do. Do 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 do, la da do 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 do. Do 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 do, la da do 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 do. Oh, back to the green. Oh, that one. Right, I'm gonna switch to this and get here, get the border going. Use the water like a border. Got to clean up spray underneath the bridges as well. Right, what to do next? Right, back to this, back to this. Let's start from down here. Ah. Oh, missed a bit down here. This to do. These fences. Get this bridge. And back to the green. Rotate. That one. That one. That one. That one. Get this bridge. That one. Oh. %. Almost there for the next message. Oh, it's a 30, but no message yet. 31, no message. Ah. Ah. Keep on going, keep on going. Cleaning the floor. Yeah, looks like this is going to be a like a two-parter video, 2 or 3-part video. This is a big area. Big job to do. Come on. Yeah, the floor's about to go ding. Is it? Guess not. Why did it go ding? Missing, there we go. That's the, floor gone ding. Another 10 minutes and I'll, stop the recording, then start it up again. Yeah, I've got to use the soap because there's areas that either a bit stubborn to clean or straight up blends in. Like I have trouble noticing this to this. This area, this rock thingy, calling it bushes, to the cliffside, mountainside sort of thing. Blending in, I have to ding to press the ping to see sort of thing. I can see that's dirty over there, but when it blends in like that is it's a bit trickier. Like a castle here. Ah, come on. I'm a bit stuck. An observatory. Sort of manor house, it says. Right, back to the green. Oh, the little detailed paintings here. Look at that. Painting of the castle over there. Got a painting of something like a entrance to something. Ah, dear. The observatory dings. Tree. That one. Right. So let's refill from any other splashes over yonders. Right, two. Green nozzle. Rinse off. That one. Rinse off that. Come on. Once I've rinsed off this soap, I'm going to end the recording and immediately start it up again. There is so much on this area that I'm gonna have to do a bunch of at the end to go round busy reviewing, having a look at everything, every little details. Cause look at, it's turning out like a beauty. It's work of art, this. But still, I am going to oh, hang on. Ah, itchy. Yeah. For now, I'm going to end the recording now and then start it back up again. See you in the next video. Bye bye. Bye bye.